Okay guys, welcome to the vlog. Today I want to talk about something very, very serious. As you guys seen from the previous clip, emergency squad. That means definitely some sort of emergency. Are you prepared for an emergency on the road? Whether you're full-time RVers, travelers, or just going away for the weekend, emergencies happen. In this said case, these people didn't know exactly where their location was, so somebody had to physically leave them and go chase down the ambulance. That's a very bad thing, especially in an emergency situation. Seconds, minutes equals life or death. I hope none of you guys experience that out here, that you need to have these kind of services, whether life or death. But here's a few things you need to ask yourself. Do you know where you're at? Do you know what your campsite is? Do you know what city, state, township, whatever you may be in? These are things that they're going to ask you when you call for help. So my advice to you is definitely know your campground, know the local number for emergency services, what police department, what jurisdiction you're in for non-life-threatening emergencies. Know those, because those are good too, because there's some bad, crazy people out here in the world. So you want to know those things. But even like if you're out on BLM land, you might want to look up your GPS coordinates, forward those to somebody you trust, that if something happens that you don't check in with them in a few days after you're supposed to be done on BLM land, they can start wondering where you're at. And if they can't reach you, they can send the proper authorities to where your last known location was, so that way they have an area to search. Also, it's good to know that information for yourself. If you're out in the middle of BLM land, you get sick, you require emergency services, you can call yourself and tell them where you're at, because 911, they're going to ask you where it's at. Even with today's age of them being able to track cell phones and things like that, they still may not be able to find you. So it's always nice to have those kind of things. But just a rule of thumb, even in travel days, if you're, say you're going to relax at a rest area for the evening, you know you're going to have a rest area coming up, look for the mile marker. That way you know what mile marker that rest area is at, or just past, or vice versa. And know what direction of travel you're heading before you pull into the rest area. That way if you need help or assistance, you call. You can be either dispatched to the appropriate people when calling 911, and number two, they can find you. That's the key thing. Making sure you're prepared for someone to come find you, rescue you if you need it. I know a lot of people think they're very prepared for that. And most people are. But some things we forget is to know where hospitals are, know where grocery stores, where the doctor's offices are, if you need be, just a regular doctor. Some place that you can get assistance, some sort of place you can get help. A lot of people forget about those things, not to mention just, knowing where your location of where your grocery stores and things like that. Know where these hospitals are. This is things that can happen out here, that where you're going to require emergency services, you need to be prepared. And there's so many things you need to be prepared for in emergencies. You need to be prepared for, severe storms, keeping a bug out bag, having things to get yourself, if you have to leave your camper in a hurry, something that will help you survive, like a survival package, bug out bag, fresh water, a change of clothes, underwear. That's a big thing. Fresh socks, things like that. Things like you should really have on hand and by the door, with a radio, some cash, a flashlight, maybe some protein bars, some that's got a shelf life that can stay in that bag for an amount of time to help sustain your life until the appropriate help can come. And that, these are things that you've got to really do for yourself. Nobody else can do these things for you out here. Help might not always be there, so you need to be prepared to help yourself. So that's just one of the things. And last night this thing here happened, and I felt compelled to put this out here today, just because I want to make sure that my fellow RVers, fellow travelers, are thinking about this and keeping this on their mind, of things they need to do to be prepared for an emergency situation. Because emergency could happen in a second, guys. And I tell you, there's no fun at all of waiting around and waiting for help and help don't find you. That's not good. So guys, I want to say happy RVing. Be safe out there. I'm going to talk to you soon.